I'm Anna,
I'm Jessica.
and this is the Paranoia Pair. Have you seen that starfish that had like butt cheeks and everyone was
I think
calling it
I did
Patrick
see it.
Star? I think it was in Argentina, and then there was a name for it. The translation for it was like a butt cheek starfish or something like that.
When I was in biology, we had to dissect a starfish,
hmm
and they're the stinkiest, grossest things, and they didn't have butt cheeks.
I had to dissect a lamb heart, and then we also had to do a pig fetus.
We did a lamb eye. We did a crawfish.
How do you dissect a crawfish?
It was so gross. And my lab partner had Asperger's, so he was living his life. Like, he had so much fun. And then on our final exam, it was on reproductive organs, and the professor walked out of the room, and he leaned over to me and had a diagram, and it was so funny.
Did he ask you where the clitoris was?
He did. And it was just the stigma behind it. It was so funny. And I told him I didn't know, because I was like, you're going to get us in trouble. It was the funniest thing I realized. I think it was like in the 3rd grade, we got to like hold a real human brain.
Ooh, no.
And I was so disgusted by the texture of it.
They made you hold it?
Yeah, like they passed it
Why
around the
would they-
class. It really did some damage. Like when people do those Halloween lunches, or like where it's like the meatloaf foot and everything. Like
That's too far for
and then
me.
they put like onions on for the toenails.
No,
like
that's too far for me.
I can't.
Dude, and I seen someone who was like, they made red velvet cinnamon rolls and they made it look like intestines. And I'm like, that's too far.
Yep.
We've gone too far as a society. We need to tone it down.
This is no longer fun.
No.
It's kind of icky.
Okay. So this case happened in the 80s.
What's the case?
Pamela Pitts.
Okay.
Pamela Pitts was born on June 25th, 1969, to Carol and Paul Pitts. She grew up in Prescott, Arizona, and she was the oldest of 4 children. Pamela was outgoing, and she was excited about life, and she could basically make friends with anyone.
Can't relate.
No. She had that kind of personality, basically, where everybody gravitated towards her. In the summer of 1988, Pamela was 19, and she and her friend Shelley Nogard moved into an apartment together. And Pamela broke the news to her father. Basically, she kind of like broke the news over like a dinner, and he wasn't very happy about it. He really was encouraging her to stay at home.
Is it gonna be some shit where he puts her in the basement?
No.
Okay.
Pamela found a job at a local restaurant, and she dreamed of going to beauty school, but money was kind of tight, and they were having issues affording their rent, so they took on a 3rd roommate named Jeremy Anderson.
Jeremy?
Yes,
A
Jeremy
boy?
Anderson. There isn't like, I tried to see if there was anything about like how they met him or like if they knew him or something, but I couldn't really find anything. On September 14th, Pamela sat down to dinner with her father and told him that she was eager to move out of the apartment, and she had explained that they were behind on rent, and he agreed to let her move back in. They planned to talk about it that upcoming Saturday when she brought laundry over, because once a week she would have dinner with her dad, and that was kind of like a tradition, which I think is really nice.
It's sweet.
So
You don't get many good dads out there.
I know. Unfortunately, that would be the last time Paul ever saw his daughter alive, because on September 16th, 1988, Pamela went missing. Shelley called Pamela's father asking if he knew where she was because she hadn't come home that night. And when Pamela failed to show up at work on Monday, September 19th, Paul knew something was seriously wrong. He called the police and filed a missing persons report. When officers went to Pamela's apartment, Shelley answered the door. Inside, they found Pamela's purse, driver's license, medication, and all of her personal items. So, not exactly the signs of someone who just ran off. She was expecting to go back to the apartment. So the officers sat Shelley down at the kitchen table and started asking her questions. Shelley told them that she thought Pamela had just gone out partying and wasn't really worried about her. So Shelley also accused Pamela of draining their joint bank account after Shelley had deposited her portion of the rent. So then on September 29th, 1988, at a local party spot called Grotto's Pit, which is a well-known hangout spot for like teenagers and stuff to like have parties in the Prescott area. Someone was going through the garbage when they stumbled upon something horrifying. They found a mutilated and burned body that was laying on top of a pile of garbage bags. The man rushed to the nearest payphone and called the police, and dental records confirmed that the body was 19-year-old Pamela Pitts. Investigators believed Pamela's body had been stored somewhere and then later dumped on the pile of trash and was set on fire. So the search for answers quickly circled back to Pamela's roommates, obviously, Shelley and Jeremy. Jeremy had been out with friends after a football game that night, and Shelley said that she had picked up her boyfriend, Ray Clerks, after work that night, and the two watched movies at a friend's house until 2:30 a.m. Then she claimed she went back to Ray's place, couldn't sleep, so she went out driving from 2:30 until 7 a.m. When investigators pressed her, Shelley broke down crying after being asked if she had anything to do with Pamela's death, and the interview basically ended there. So they then...
Why did the interview...
I feel like she was just like hysterical, and they're just like, okay, well...
Typical woman problems.
Yeah, it was the 80s. So investigators then turned to Ray. He told them that he last saw Shelley at 11:30 p.m. that night. When confronted with the differences in their alibis, Ray chalked it up to just being confused because it had been weeks ago. He even agreed to do a polygraph, which he passed, but basically polygraphs, as we know now, like basically don't mean anything. But like back in the 80s, the police like really heavily relied on polygraphs, and they put so much emphasis on polygraphs back then to where failing one could basically ruin your entire life forever. And then passing one was just like a get out of free jail card. They were too trusting basically of polygraphs, and that is what
I just know that I would fail a polygraph no matter what because of my...
Me too. And that's why, because it doesn't even measure, like there's no way to measure if someone is lying or not. Like it just basically measures your heart rate.
Well, and then I would think they're going to
nervous.
think I'm lying.
Yeah.
Are they going to think I did this? And then I'm failing.
Yeah. I feel like we should be offered a Xanax first. I will take half of Xanax first. Thank you.
Take a whole. Can't risk it.
Rumors started circulating. People claimed they saw Shelley that night, and she wasn't just aimlessly driving. She was actively looking for Pamela. Some even said that she was angry about Pamela moving out, threatening she would kill her if she found her, and bragging she knew how to get rid of a body by burning it or by dumping it in a mine shaft.
Okay.
There was no factual evidence, though, so the case went cold. But 3 years later, on May 25th, 1991, a group of college students were exploring the caves in the area, and they found another body. It was inside a mine shaft. Trapped in a mattress liner was the decomposed body of a white male who had been shot in the head. Dental records identified him...
Is it Jeremy?
No.
Oh.
As...
Does Jeremy come back into play at all? Do I need to just let Jeremy go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Dental records identified him as 24-year-old Ray Clerks, Shelley's boyfriend, who had been reported missing after failing to show up for a relative's wedding. He also apparently was living with Shelley.
Ray?
Yes.
Okay.
So they had moved in together.
Okay. So it was serious.
Mm-hmm. So, tire marks at the scene matched a pickup truck that Shelley recently borrowed. Police interviewed her, and at her house, they found blood. When they inspected her car, they immediately recognized the smell of death. There was blood in the trunk that matched Ray's blood type, and under the front seat, they found a 9mm handgun. A flashlight found in the mine had Shelley's fingerprints on it.
I'm sorry. Cut this part out. Do you ever listen to these and think, like, how fucking stupid are you? Like, then I'm like, wow, that's like a messed up thing. Like, it's good they did that
Yeah.
because then it was caught, but also at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, and the fact that she was like bragging, I know how to hide a dead body. You burn it or put it in a mine shaft. And what happened?
Literally, she sucks at being a killer. Anyways,
Thank God she sucks at it, though.
yeah.
Okay, so ballistic reports confirmed that the gun they found under the front seat matched the weapon used to kill Ray. Ray's family told investigators he had been planning to break up with Shelley and move to California. Shelley was arrested and charged with Ray's murder. At first, she pled not guilty despite the mountain of evidence stacked against her. But on June 1st, 1993, after 2 years of fighting it, she finally confessed. She admitted she killed Ray after he ended the relationship and threatened to take the dogs. So she had shot him while he laid on a car roof watching planes fly by. She was sentenced to 20 years without parole and was set to be released in 2011.
Blows my mind that anybody who kills somebody gets a sentence less than a lifetime.
Yeah,
Like a life for a life.
yeah. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I feel like there would also be way less crime.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you kill someone, hey, guess what? You don't get the option to kill someone again. Years later, in 2011, Pamela's cold case was reopened by Victor Dart, who began interviewing Shelley while she was still incarcerated. Then, in September 2016, investigators reviewed prison phone calls between Shelley and her father. In the calls, her father's worried that she'd be arrested again right after being released. Based on that, officials pushed for an indictment. On June 5th, 2017, Shelley was arrested again, this time under suspicion of Pamela's 1988 murder. The problem, though, was technology back then hadn't preserved physical evidence well enough. Common problem. And also, evidence tampering was also a huge issue. I feel like there was this TikTok, and it was like cops in the 80s, and then it was like coughing all over the evidence and like spilling coffee and the crime scene and stuff. I'm just like, this is so accurate. Like, this is a funny skip, like accurate. I don't know what they were thinking. It was probably all the cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So technology back then hadn't preserved physical evidence well enough to lock her down in court, and without it, prosecutors had a huge battle ahead of them. So Pamela's family made a heartbreaking choice of agreeing to offer a plea deal to Shelley in March of 2020. In May of 2020, Shelley confessed in court. She admitted she sought Pamela out at Gordo's pit, and when she found her, she beat her until she stopped moving. And then, when she heard voices approaching, she fled. But that's basically where the confession ended. She refused to go into further detail or talk about what happened to Pamela's body after the fact.
Or why?
Yeah, she flat out refused to talk any further about it.
That's so stupid.
So the Pitts family obviously was devastated, and they weren't allowed to ask questions either. And as part of the plea deal that was offered, I don't know how they fucking got away with doing this. Part of the plea deal was Shelley received credit for time served for the murder of Ray. So the 20 years she did for murdering Ray, they counted basically as time served for killing Pamela.
Killing one person will just whatever, but like you can't kill a second person and then like not still spend the rest of your life
It's
there.
like a 2-for-1 deal. Why?
That's crazy.
That's it. Yeah. So in the end, the woman who killed Pamela Pitts walked away without serving additional prison time.
So she's free?
Yeah. And Pamela's family was basically left with injustice.
She didn't get any more time.
Yeah. And after serving 20 years in prison for Ray's murder, she was released, got married. Her new last name is Harmon, and she worked as a bookkeeper and as a manager for rental properties, which I think is insane.
Imagine renting from a 2-time killer.
Yes, you're literally letting a murderer into your houses. Shelley now, like her last known location is she was living outside Carson City in Nevada. And apparently friends and neighbors describe her as a Christian woman, generous
Of course.
and trusted with caring for others' pets and homes.
That's crazy. I can't believe she didn't get any time for Pamela's murder.
That really pissed me off.
That's ridiculous.
But that's our justice system for you.
Yeah. Like 20 years for one murder, whatever. I guess we can move past that.
I feel like they could have even gotten her to confess if they offered her half the time.
Yeah. But like 20 years for 2 murders, 2 separate murders. They weren't even of the same occasion. They were 2 thought out separate murders, and she just got off with the second one.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Bitch. Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Paranoia Pair Pod. And we will see you next Friday.
Stay spooky.
Fuck you, Shelley.
Yeah, fuck you, Shelley.